What's up, board gamers? Thank you for checking out our review of Ticket to Ride Europe. This is a family weight game with the following description. Ticket to Ride Europe takes you on a new train adventure across Europe. From Edinburgh to Constantinople and from Lisbon to Moscow, you'll visit great cities of turn-of-the-century Europe. Like the original Ticket to Ride, the game remains elegantly simple, can be learned in 5 minutes and appeals to both families and experienced gamers. In Ticket to Ride Europe, you will be collecting multiple different sets of coloured cards to use as currency to lay trains on a track and claim routes on a map of Europe. As indicated in the description, it plays largely like its predecessor Ticket to Ride, which is set on a map of America. On your turn, you can either take 2 coloured cards or 1 locomotive from the market or deck, claim a track with a set of coloured cards matching the length of a track and the colour if shown, draw a ticket which is an endgame route card, or lastly place a station. With an unlimited hand size, players will continue to draw cards from the market or deck until they have enough cards of one colour to be able to pay the cost and claim a track between 2 destinations. Some tracks only cost 1 card to claim and some tracks take up to 8 cards to claim. A grey track indicates a set of any coloured cards can be used to claim a route. However, if a track has a colour on it, then a player must supply the exact number of these coloured cards to be able to claim that track. Once a track is claimed, this player places train pieces of their colour onto the board, covering the route they just claimed. This completed track will form part of the player's endgame route cards. Alongside endgame route points, each time a track is claimed by a player, then it will score points. For example, a track laid with 2 cards scores 2 immediate points, whereas a track laid with 4 cards would generate 7 immediate points. These can be scored each time a track is claimed or by reviewing the tracks and scoring them at the end of the game. If a player is being blocked between 2 of their destinations on their endgame route cards, it is possible to place out a station located at the end of their track, which then uses another player's track to fulfill the final part of their route. Though each station used will have a detrimental effect on endgame points, so using fewer is better. Some tracks on the main board will show a picture of a locomotive, which means that a rainbow locomotive card must be used in conjunction with claiming this route. So if a grey track requires 4 cards and 2 of them have a locomotive symbol, then a player must have 2 cards of one colour and 2 rainbow locomotive cards in their hand to be able to claim this particular track. Locomotive cards also serve as a wild card for the purpose of claiming any track in the usual way. One of the differences between Ticket to Ride Europe and the earlier American version is the inclusion of ferries and tunnels. When a player wishes to claim a route with either of these elements, another player draws 3 cards from the top of the market deck, and if any of these 3 cards match the colour the player was attempting to use, then the claimant must pay an additional card per match that was drawn from the deck. This makes the game feel slightly trickier than the earlier version, as players' plans are not as easily executed, which increases the level of excitement for everyone at the table. Game end is triggered when a player has 2 or less train carriages left to place. Following this, all players will receive 1 final turn, including the person who triggered the end of the game. After this final round has been played, players add up the total points from claiming tracks together with adding up all the completed route cards, then deducting points on any uncompleted route cards. Add 4 points for each remaining station in your supply, and whoever has laid the longest continuous track across the map will gain an additional 10 bonus points. The person with the highest amount of points wins the game. Our negatives with this game are that it can be frustrating watching other players luckily pull the exact cards they need to claim tracks that you would have liked to claim. So there is a high luck factor in this game, which may be a negative for some people who like to have more control of their game outcomes. Also, there can be a period of time where you are just collecting cards into a massive hand while waiting for the cards you need to collect your route cards. Other than these minimal points, we have a lot of positives to discuss. Player turns can be quick. Taking 2 cards from the market or putting some trains out to claim a track can take just a few seconds. Completing your route cards can be rewarding throughout the game, and it feels nice to have something to aim for. There is a good balance between should I collect more cards or claim this route now before someone else does, which is a fun aspect. The card art and board art are very clear and well done. The plastic trains are well made and really suit the theme, and we couldn't imagine them being made out of cardboard, for example. Ticket to Ride Europe is an excellent family weight game where turns are quick and players feel involved in everyone else's turns, watching where they'll be going and seeing if it affects them in any way, which means there's very little downtime. There is also fun in-game drama of drawing cards to see if a player can claim the ferry or tunnel route they were actually going for. All in all, a highly enjoyable family game that both new and seasoned gamers can play together, with luck being a good leveler for skill and strategy. Here at Board Game Pigs, we give this an 8.5 out of 10 for being able to be played by gamers of all ages. Thank you for checking out our review of Ticket to Ride Europe.